Mini lesson 1A, one variable stats. For this example, we have 38, 16, 37, and 29. Before doing anything with this sequence, let's write it in order from least to greatest. To find the mean, we'll add up all the numbers together and divide by the number of data points. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 things. So we find the sum, divide by 4. For the mean, we have 120 divided by 4, and that is going to give us 30. That is the arithmetic mean. Now the mode is the number that shows up the most. All of these only show up once, so there is no mode. We'll just write none. Max is the biggest number in the set, which is 38. The minimum is the smallest number in the set, 16. The range is the maximum minus the minimum, 22. And the median is the number in the middle. There are two numbers in the middle, so to find the median, we add those two numbers together and divide by 2, which gives us 33. Pause the video and see if you can answer the questions on the next example. When you're ready to check, unpause the video. First, reorder the numbers from least to greatest. To calculate the mean, you add all of the numbers up and divide by the number of things. In this case is 4. 116 divided by 4 is 29. The mode is the most popular. They all appear once, so again there's no mode. Maximum is the biggest number in the set, 45. Minimum is the smallest, 8. And then range, find the difference between the maximum and the minimum, 37. And for the median, find the middle values, add them up, and divide by 2. It will give you a decimal answer of 31.5. Let's look at the next example. This time, the data set contains decimals. Rewrite the data in order from least to greatest. And then to get the mean, add the numbers together and divide by the number of things. In this case, there are 5 terms, 5 data points. We have 5.4 divided by 5. And that gives us 1.08. There's no mode. The biggest number is 1.41. The minimum smallest number is 0.64. The range is the maximum minus the minimum. And that'll give us 0.77. And then the median is the middle value. In this case, there is a value exactly in the middle. It's 1.32. Pause the video and try the example next to it for data set H. We have a mean of 0.754. There's no mode. The largest number is 1.94. The minimum, the smallest number is 0.13. The range is 1.81, and then the median, the middle, is 0.21. You also want to order them from least to greatest when finding the max, min, and medians. Let's look at the example for data set F. This one is a histogram. The x-axis is going to represent the value in the data set, and the y-axis represents the frequency, how many times that number occurs in the data set. So before finding these values, let's go ahead and write how much each frequency is. So for 3, it looks like it occurs 6 times. 4 occurs 5 times. 5 occurs 2 times. 6 occurs once. 7, 2. 8, 6 times. And then 9 would occur 3 times. So that means there are 25 data points. Or values. To calculate the mean, we'll find the sum of all the numbers and then divide it by that 25. Instead of writing out all the numbers, we could just have the frequency times each of those unique numbers. So it'd be 6 times 3 plus 5 times 4 plus 2 times 5 plus 1 times 6 plus 2 times 7 plus 6 times 8 and then plus 3 times 9. That would give us 143 divided by 25. And that would give us 5.72. Now the maximum value would be the biggest number here, which is 9. The minimum would be 3. The mode, in this case, is the one that shows up the most. There's 2 of them, 3 and 8. The range would be the maximum minus the minimum, 6. And then the median, find the middle value. Instead of listing out all 25 of these numbers, we could find what the middle of 25 points is. Since 25 is an odd number, we are going to identify the 13th number in the sequence. So here's 6, 11, 12, 13. The 13th number would be a 5. So the median is 5. Pause the video and go ahead and label the frequencies for each bar in this histogram for dataset G. Are these the values that you got? Pause the video and find the mean of this data set. The mean is 9.64. You would add up all of the values in the histogram and divide by the number of things, which is 25. Pause the video and identify the mode, the max, the min, and the range. The most common value is 13, which is also the largest value, the maximum. The minimum in this case is 4. The range would be the difference between those two, which is 9. Now pause the video and find the median. The 13th number in this set is 10. You can think of it like this. We have 12 items here, and then we have 12 items here. and then this is the middle. Let's go on to the next page. Dataset L is a box plot where the minimum is right here, the maximum's here, and then we have quartiles 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, which, by the way, quartile 2 is also known as the median. All right, so using this, the maximum looks like it's 43, the minimum 36, quartile 1 is 38, quartile 3 is 42. The interquartile range would be quartile 3 minus quartile 1, which in this case would be 4, and then the median is quartile 2, that's 40. Pause the video and identify these values in the box plot for dataset M. Did you also get these values? Dataset I is a dot plot. The first thing that we want to do is identify how many dots, or the frequency, for each value. There's 3 73s, 4 74s, 2 75s, 0 76s, and so on. To find the mean, we could use a similar approach to what we did when finding the mean of the histogram. We'll find the sum of all of the values and divide by the number of values, which is 25. We get 1,770 and then divide by 25. And that will give us 885. The most common value in this case is 79. Our biggest value is 80. Our smallest value is 73. Our range would be 80 minus 73, 7. And the median, the middle number. Again, we're going to find the 13th term here. It would be 77. Pause the video and find these values for dataset J. Are these the values you calculated for dataset J? The pie chart gives a breakdown of a monthly budget of $4,320. Find the angle measure of each piece of the pie chart to the nearest degree. For each of these, we want to set up proportions. For the rent, it says that it's $1,500 and the total amount was $4,320. We're going to set that equal to something over 360 degrees. There's 360 degrees total in a circle. You cross multiply these. Also in this case known as multiply 360 times the fraction 1,500 over 4,320. That's going to give us 125 degrees. For other, we'll multiply 360 times 1,440 over 4,320. which gives us 120. For food, multiply 360 times 576 over 4,320. And that gives us 48 degrees. Entertainment, 360 times 504 divided by 4,320. Gives us 42 degrees. And then for bills, 360 times 300 over 4,320. And that gives us 25 degrees. Now, if you were to add all of these degrees together, you should get 360 altogether. Let's take a moment to check that. And then this would give us 360. Sometimes they'll ask for percentages, and sometimes they'll ask you to turn it into degrees. Be sure to read the directions carefully whenever you're doing one of these kind. A student has earned the following scores on 4 100-point tests this grading period: 63, 72, 88, and 92. What score must the student earn on the 5th and final 100-point test of the grading period to earn an average test grade of 80 for the 5 tests? So for this one, they give you the average, the mean, and they want you to find one of the missing data points. To set this up, we'll have all the values added together plus some unknown. We could call it x. Divide by 5 since there are 5 of them, and it's going to equal 80 for that mean, that average. From here, we can simplify the fraction in the numerator, 315 plus x, and then divide by 5 equals 80. To get rid of that 5 in the denominator, multiply each side by 5. Lastly, go ahead and subtract 315 from each side. The missing value is 85. So that means that the student needs to earn at least an 85 to get a test grade of 80 for the 5 tests. To determine a student's test score for the semester, Mr. Lopez throws out the lowest test score and takes the average of the remaining test scores. Jason earned the following test scores in Mr. Lopez's class this semester: 62, 78, 83, 84, and 93. What test score did Jason earn in Mr. Lopez's class this semester? A key thing to see here is that Mr. Lopez throws out the lowest test score, so 62 will be omitted here. We're not going to use that when we're calculating the average. From there, you're going to find the sum of the remaining numbers and divide by those number of terms left over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 of them. Then we have 338 divided by 4, which gives you 84.5, which would round up to 85%. Ryan is bowling in a tournament. He has the highest average after 5 games, with scores of 210, 225, 254, 231, and 280. In order to maintain this exact average, what must be Ryan's score for his 6th game? First, we want to find the average of those 5 games. Now, this would also be how much he would need to score for his 6th game, because if you added that amount to his already existing average and divide by 6 now, you would also get 240. Stephanie averages 5 miles per hour, and Sarah averages 6 miles per hour. At these rates, how much longer does it take Stephanie to run 15 miles than Sarah? For Stephanie, you could think of it as 5 times some number of hours equals 15 miles. And then for Sarah, you could think of 6 times some amount of hours equals 15 miles. We'll solve for the 2 different t's. So Stephanie's time would be 3 hours. And Sarah's time would be 5/2 hours, which is the same thing as saying 2.5 hours. If we have 3 hours minus 2.5 hours, it would be a half an hour longer, or 30 minutes. "50 households were surveyed to determine the number of TVs in each of the households. The number of TVs in each household is shown in the chart below. What is an average number of TVs per household for these 50 households?" All right, so let's identify each of these values. The number of households, that's the frequency. And the number of TVs in a household, those are going to be the data points. To get the average, we're going to divide by the total frequency, the number of households, total households. Let's add all those together. 25, 35, 45, 50. And it also says there was 50 households. To find the total number of TVs, we would multiply the frequency times the number of TVs in that household. From there, you can input this into a calculator. We'll get 180 divided by 50, and that gives you about 3.6 TVs per household. Four identical glasses are shown below. One glass is empty. The other 3 glasses are 1/4 full, 1/2 full, and 4/5 full of water, respectively. If the water was redistributed equally among the 4 glasses, what fractional part of each glass would be filled? To find this, what we want to do is add all of those values together and divide by 4. 0 plus 1/4 plus 1/2 plus 4/5 divided by 4. We'll have 31 over 20 divided by 4. That will give us 31 over 80. In the triangle shown below, what is the average of angles A, B, C, D, and E? So what we know about these is that A and B added together is going to give you 90 degrees. Since the whole triangle is 180 degrees, and this is already 90. And we know the sum of these three angles is going to be 180 degrees, since that is a full triangle. If we add 180 plus 90 together and divide by the number of angles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we'll get our average here. 54 degrees is our average.